They left me alone in a hospital room with no flowers, no visitors, and a phone that stayed painfully silent. Not because I had no family, but because my family had already decided I was no longer useful to them. 48 hours earlier, I was the daughter they called only when they needed money, legal help, or someone to clean up their disasters. I was the dependable one, the woman who never said no. The one who quietly paid bills, covered debts, and protected the family name while everyone else enjoyed the comfort I built. Then one accident changed everything. A car crash on a rainy Chicago night landed me in the emergency room with a fractured rib, stitches across my forehead, and strict orders not to move. I called my mother first. No answer. Then my younger brother. Declined. My sister texted only 3 words. Busy right now. That was the moment something inside me finally broke. Lying in that sterile hospital bed, listening to machines beep in the dark, I made one simple decision. If my family could abandon me at my lowest point, then I would stop protecting them from the consequences of their own greed. What they didn't know was that I had spent years quietly fixing their mistakes, covering tax fraud, hiding unpaid loans, and keeping one very dangerous family secret buried. And the moment I stopped, their entire world collapsed. Within 48 hours, my mother was screaming, my brother was begging, and the people who once ignored me were pounding on my hospital door, desperate for help. But by then, it was already too late. Because for the first time in my life, I chose myself. Story. My name is Natalie Carter. I'm 34 years old and I live in Chicago, Illinois, USA. People used to call me the strong daughter. It sounds like a compliment until you realize what it really means. It means you are the one everyone leans on until your spine nearly snaps in half. I grew up in a 2-story brick house on the south side of Chicago. From the outside, we looked like a respectable middle-class family. My father, Richard Carter, owned a small logistics company. My mother, Diane Carter, was the type of woman who cared more about appearances than reality. Everything in our family was performance. At church, we were perfect. At neighborhood barbecues, we were perfect. Online, we were perfect. Behind closed doors, we were a slow-burning disaster. My father was emotionally absent, always working late. My mother treated affection like a currency she could weaponize. Love was conditional in our house. If you performed well, you received approval. If you were inconvenient, you became invisible. I learned this lesson early. At 13, I won a district writing competition. I came home carrying my certificate like it was gold. My mother glanced at it and said, "That's nice. Did you remember to wash your brother's soccer uniform?" That was it. No congratulations. No hug. Just another task. So I adapted. I became useful. Useful children survived dysfunctional families. By 16, I was tutoring classmates for extra money. By 19, I was working 2 jobs while attending college. By 25, I had become the family's emergency fund. It started small. "Natalie, can you cover your brother's rent this month?" "Natalie, your mother needs help with a medical bill." "Natalie, can you spot us until next Friday?" Next Friday never came. It never does. My younger brother, Ethan, was 31 and had never truly held himself accountable for anything. Charming, irresponsible, allergic to consequences. My younger sister, Vanessa, was prettier, louder, and expertly manipulative. She had mastered the art of crying on command. And my mother. She was their queen. She managed the family through guilt. "Natalie, family is everything." That sentence ruined years of my life. Because in our house, family is everything actually meant. Your needs come last. By 34, I had a stable career as a compliance consultant for mid-sized businesses. Good salary, small condo downtown, quiet life. No husband. No children. My mother loved mentioning that. Natalie chose work over family. Funny, considering I spent my entire adulthood carrying theirs. 3 months before the hospital incident, things got worse. My father died unexpectedly from a stroke, and with his death came chaos. Apparently, my father's business was nowhere near as stable as everyone believed. Debt, outstanding taxes, suspicious financial records, unpaid vendors. I discovered all of this because my mother showed up at my condo, crying dramatically into a designer tissue. "We need your help," she said. Not "I miss you." Not "How are you handling Dad's death?" Just business. Always business. I spent weeks reviewing files. That's when I discovered something deeply disturbing. For years, my father had been underreporting revenue and shifting money through shell accounts to keep the company afloat. Not exactly cinematic criminal mastermind behavior, more like desperate, sloppy financial deception. But illegal is illegal. And somehow, my family knew. My mother knew. My brother knew. Even Vanessa knew. But instead of fixing anything, they simply relied on me to manage the fallout. "You're smart," Ethan told me. Translation: clean this mess. And I did. Because old habits are hard to kill. I negotiated payment plans, organized records, contacted attorneys, bought time. A lot of time. Time they did not deserve. Then came the accident. It was a Tuesday evening. Cold rain hammered the windshield as I drove home after leaving a law office downtown. A pickup truck ran a red light. Metal screamed. Glass exploded. Then darkness. When I woke up, everything smelled like antiseptic and regret. A nurse told me I was lucky. Minor internal bruising. Broken rib. Concussion. Stitches. Observation for 48 hours. I nodded, dazed. My first instinct was embarrassingly predictable. Call Mom. No answer. Okay. Call Ethan. Straight to voicemail. Call Vanessa. She answered. "Oh my God, are you okay?" For a second, relief flooded my chest. Then she added, "Can you call me back later? I'm at dinner." Click. That was the exact moment something inside me froze. Not shattered. Not cracked. Frozen. Cold clarity. I stared at the white ceiling and realized a truth I had spent decades avoiding. If I died tonight, these people would only panic because their problem solver disappeared. Not because they loved me. That realization hurt more than the broken rib. The next morning, my phone remained silent. No calls. No messages. Until noon. A text from my mother. Not "How are you?" Not "Do you need anything?" Just, "Did you send the revised tax documents?" I read it 3 times. Then laughed. Actually laughed. A dry, bitter laugh that startled even me. That was it. That was the final thread snapping. I opened my laptop from the hospital tray. And for the first time in my life, I stopped protecting them. I emailed our attorney. Subject line: "I am withdrawing from all involvement effective immediately." Then another email to the accountant. Then another to the payment mediator. Then another to a federal compliance contact who had requested clarification weeks ago. This time, I did not delay. I did not soften. I simply forwarded what was requested. Accurate files. Untouched records. Truth. Nothing dramatic. No fake revenge monologue. Just administrative honesty. Turns out, reality is often more destructive than revenge fantasies. 48 hours later, my phone exploded. Missed calls, 37. Voicemails, 19. Texts flooding like a digital panic attack. My mother. "Call me immediately." Ethan. What did you do? Vanessa. Mom is freaking out. Fix this. Uh. There it was. Not concern. Not apology. Just consequences arriving at their front door. I ignored them. A nurse entered my room and smiled politely. You have visitors. Visitors. Interesting. I looked up, and there they were. My mother, Ethan, and Vanessa. Suddenly very available. My mother rushed forward dramatically. Natalie, sweetheart. I held up one hand. She stopped. The room became painfully quiet. For once, nobody knew their script. Ethan stepped in first. What the hell were you thinking? There it was. Not even pretending. I almost admired the efficiency. I looked at him calmly. You ignored my calls. He blinked. What? I was in a hospital bed for 2 days. Silence. Vanessa crossed her arms. Don't make this emotional. That sentence nearly made me laugh again. Don't make abandonment emotional. Remarkable logic. My mother switched tactics instantly. Tears. Classic. We've all been under stress since your father died. I stared at her, then asked the question I should have asked years ago. Would any of you be here if I hadn't stopped helping? No one answered. And silence can be louder than confession. That was all I needed. I pressed the nurse call button. My family looked confused. The nurse arrived. Yes, Ms. Carter. I smiled politely. I'd like my visitors removed. My mother gasped like I'd committed murder. Natalie. But it was over. Security escorted them out, while my brothers shouted threats, and my mother cried about betrayal. Betrayal. Interesting word choice. After they left, the room became quiet again. Peaceful,